Listen, whether you made New Year's resolutions this year or not, I bet there are things that you want to start doing this year or stop doing this year, right? Well, stick with me because today I am talking about Atomic Habits by James Clear. If you've got goals that you want to accomplish this year, hit that like button and let's talk about this book. So, this month, I read a book that I've been wanting to read for a while, Atomic Habits by James Clear. So, if you've never heard of this book, or you don't know, like I didn't really know, what is an atomic habit? An atomic habit is a regular pattern or routine that is not only small and easy to do, but also the source of incredible power. Ooh. All right, that sounds great. I would like to have an atomic habit. I would like to have a lot of atomic habits because all of these little atomic habits then like create your life, right? And I want to have a great life. I want to have great habits, great life. So how do I do that? All right. So the rest of the book, the author talks about how to do that. So he starts off by saying, it's a simple two-step process. All right. As soon as someone tells me something is simple, I'm like, is it though? All right. Here is his simple two-step process. Decide the type of person you want to be and prove it to yourself with small wins. Is that simple? Sort of. Anyway, so how do we do that? He then gets really specific and practical, which I love. I hate a book that is like just like positive thinking. Right? I want a book that gives me practical things that I can do. And I got to tell you, James, we're on a first name basis. James and I, man, we've been through some stuff reading this book, working through this book. So James knows all of my secrets. And so I feel like we can be on a first name basis. All right. So he gives you actual examples and practical things that you can do. So it's not just this, like pie in the sky. I don't really know, like it's out there floating around me what I need to do, but how do I do that? No, James is going to break it down for you and give you specific things that you can do, right? So he talks about the 4 laws of behavior change. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and then make it satisfying or rewarding. I like the word rewarding more than satisfying, but whatever. So he says satisfying. So the whole rest of the book is where he gives you like examples, practical tips, some like habit hacks, like ways to hack your brain to make this work. In each of those 4 areas, like he really covers it in depth. How to make it obvious, how to make a behavior attractive, how to make a behavior easy, and then how to make it satisfying by giving yourself a reward. What kind of reward you have to give and when you have to give it. Like the book has great advice and great tips, practical stuff that you can use. Okay, so great advice, great tips, cool, right? Sounds interesting, I'm in, if it works, right? So that's the big question. Is it as simple as it sounds? So it's still January, right? So I've been doing this for, I'm going to be honest, I've been doing this for a couple of weeks. But, yeah, I think it works. I think it works. So I'm going to give you a couple examples of what I'm doing and how it's working and why I think it's working. All right, are you ready? Here we go. One of my goals this year is I want to improve my Portuguese, right? So I'm taking a course online and it's got a bunch of modules and lessons that progress to the point where you can take a basic A2 level exam and then move on to the B1 and B2 courses, right? It's great. So I'd like to be into the B1 level by the end of 2023. I'm only going to do that if I complete the A2 lessons and ace the exam. So the habit I want to form is doing a Portuguese lesson every day, because I want to be the kind of person who studies and speaks Portuguese every day. This is my new habit, right? Here we go. We got to make it obvious, right? It needs to be obvious what I'm supposed to do. So I went into the course and I looked at what I need to do between the lesson I'm on and the A2 test. Right? I looked at every single lesson to see what it was and what I had to do. I made it easy to do because I only need to do one lesson a day, right? Some lessons only take like 5 minutes, right, to finish. And some of them are more like 20 minutes, right? And especially if I have to do them a couple of times, because I don't just want to do the lesson, I need to learn Portuguese, right? But these are short lessons, right? I mean, there's 222 of them, but they're short. So I can complete them in like maximum 20 minutes, but most of them are much smaller than that. So it is obvious what I got to do, and it's easy to do it. I just have to do one. I don't have to study for an hour a day. I don't have to like do anything massively hard. One lesson, just one lesson every day. That's all I got to do. It's obvious and it's easy. All right, but this last little part, satisfying, make it satisfying. This is something that I was struggling with, because as much as I want to learn Portuguese, I don't act like I want to learn Portuguese, right? Because I'm like, oh, I'll do it later. I don't really want to, whatever. But it's got to be a daily habit, right? That's how I'm going to learn it. So I needed to find a way to make it satisfying so that I would keep doing it, right? I wanted to keep doing it every day, make it satisfying. My problem is I was having a hard time thinking of like what a good reward would be, because it has to be like immediate. It has to be an immediate reward. I was listening to the Mel Robbins is doing on her podcast. She's doing a whole habits thing this month. And she was saying that the research shows that humans need a reward within 2 minutes. We need a reward within 2 minutes in order for us to, like our brains, to know that that's a behavior we want to repeat. So I'm thinking, well, crap, what kind of a reward can I give myself within 2 minutes of completing a lesson that would be satisfying enough for me to keep wanting to do more lessons? And like, I was really having a hard time thinking of what that would be, because the things that are super rewarding for me are things that I'm not going to be able to do 2 minutes after I complete a lesson, right? Like I can't go get a massage. I can't, like, I got things, right? I can't, just impossible. The one thing that I could think of that would be rewarding for me on an instantaneous basis is candy, right? I'll do almost anything for a piece of candy or a bag of candy. But that's just creating another bad habit, right? If I keep rewarding myself with candy, that's not the person that I want to be. So I'm thinking and thinking and thinking, racking my brain, what can be a good reward? Because James is telling me if it's not a satisfying habit, I'm not going to keep doing it. And James is right. So for me, Something that I do like to do, that I do find satisfying, is crossing things off a list. It's satisfying. I mean, it's not candy satisfying, but it is satisfying, right? So, you know those 222 lessons? I went back in and I put them in this like checklist, right? So here they all are, 2 sides of a piece of paper, right? I put them all in, I printed them out, and it sits right on top of my computer, right on top of my laptop. When I leave my office at night, I close my laptop, I put this right on top of it, right? So when I walk into my office in the morning, I can't do anything, right? I can't open my laptop to do anything, check my email, check whatever, do whatever, until I look at this and decide what I'm gonna do with this, right? Am I gonna like move it to the side and not do anything? Or am I actually gonna do it and cross it off? So here's my list. I made it obvious, right? Here's everything I have to do. I made it easy by like, I only have to do one, just one every day. And then the way that I'm making this daily Portuguese habit satisfying is, at least until I think of something better, is I'm just crossing it off the list, right? And so as I see, can you see this? Those yellow lines going down the page, like progress is satisfying. I mean, imagine how awesome it's gonna be like when it's yellow, and then halfway yellow. And then imagine like when I'm like here at the very end and I've got yellow all over this page. I mean, that's gonna be satisfying, right? Progress is satisfying. Also, this piece of paper is proof to me that I am the kind of person who studies and speaks Portuguese every day, which is why I'm doing this in the first place, right? That's the kind of person I want to be. And every time I draw a yellow line on this piece of paper, I am casting a vote for the person I want to be. Okay, so is any of that stuff that I didn't already know? Is any of it stuff you didn't already know? Like, it is true that I shouldn't say we. I feel like I have consumed a lot of stuff in my life about building habits and creating habits. And I mean, I've made checklists before and crossed them off. Here's what I think is different about this book. And maybe it's just that I read it at the right time in my life when I was ready to hear it and ready to use it. I don't know. But the beauty of this book for me is that it put all 4 of those laws together, right? Like, I don't know that I had ever, in all of my training and all of my education on habit forming and goal setting, I don't know that in my mind it ever clicked. Maybe I was taught this, but it never clicked for me about really thinking through your goals and then thinking through what the small little habits are that need to get you to your goal. And then thinking about these 4 laws of behavior change and how you have to have all 4 components if your little small tiny habit is going to build and build and build and build so that you reach your goals, right? So listen to this. Sometimes a habit will be hard to remember and you'll need to make it obvious. Other times, you won't feel like starting and you'll need to make it attractive. In many cases, you may find that a habit will be too difficult and you'll need to make it easy. And sometimes you won't feel like sticking with it and you'll need to make it satisfying. So you really got to think about all 4 components if you want to create a habit that lasts, right? That you'll actually do and that you'll keep doing. So I thank you, James, for putting it all together for me. Atomic Habits, 5-star book for me. I probably will be talking about this book all year. Loved it. So I totally recommend it. I especially recommend it if you are in a book club, because I think this would be a great book to discuss with other people. It really got me thinking about my goals and my habits and my routines and coming up with tangible ways that I can incorporate these 4 laws of behavior change into my life. I think this would be a great book for a book club discussion, because bouncing ideas off of other people and then seeing how they're applying things to their daily routines and forming new habits, I think that would be super inspiring and super fun. I recommend this for a book club. I think it's a good book club book. I really, really do. So if you're thinking about using this book in a book club and you want some discussion questions, I've put together a simple PDF with some of the questions that I thought about as I worked through and was doing the book, and some questions that I would personally love to discuss with other people, like in a book club setting or random strangers on the street, even, whatever. Like, these are the questions, these are the things that I would want to talk about. If you want it, head over to www.thefigtreeboutique.com/atomic questions, enter your email address, and I will shoot you those questions right away. I'll drop this link in the description box so you can go and snag those questions. Thanks for watching this video all the way to the end. If this video was helpful for you, it would be super helpful for me if you could give it a thumbs up. And if you want to keep watching, here's a video I think you'll like. See you next time.